I still don't think that Heidi thinks that she's done the wrong thing necessarily, like full stop, as far as
Right.
like bringing her family into that community. But I think she is a mom who's looking at it less through kind of like this belief system that they've all adhered to and more as like somebody hurt my child. And I don't know how to repair this, but I'm going to try.
Hi, Wrenn. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing fabulously. I love this film. I love how we get just like basically glimpses of you guys outside of Jem's perspective. And yet there is a whole life happening there in the background. How much do you know about Heidi's life outside of what we see?
I mean, a lot. Do you have like a more specific question?
I mean, like, did you and Laurel or you and Jimmy kind of break down like what has been going on in this marriage? What do they feel, for example, about marrying Jem into the pastor's family?
Jimmy and I talked a bit about kind of like when Heidi and Paul met and where they were at, because I mean, we both had a sense that that was a very different place from where the story begins. Given Paul's alcohol addiction, and that, we both felt, and I think we talked with Laurel a little bit about this too, that Heidi and Paul knew each other before they were part of this more conservative community. But then as far as kind of like what their marriage is like, and I mean, I felt like Jimmy and I were able to be kind of creative about that in our own ways. And then we kind of got to experience what we were each bringing to that on set. And, if we had a question for Laurel, she was very open and interested in talking, but otherwise I think she really trusted us to bring kind of like our best collaborative and creative abilities to filling out who these people are. And I think like fundamentally, Heidi and Paul have a really good relationship, but like any marriage, I think that there are things that they really don't see eye to eye on. And also ways in which it's like, man, if like these 5 things about my partner or my husband are like amazing. And then these 2 are things that if I could just, and within that, of course, too, is like the kind of the belief system of like, Heidi sees herself as a helpmeet to Paul, and Paul is he's like the household figure, and also kind of like the family's conduit to God. And she really reveres him in that aspect, while I think she's also kind of like secretly having opinions about how he's doing that and how well he's doing it.
We see a very big arc for Jem from the start to the end in terms of herself, her own relationship to her faith, and how she expresses herself. How much do you feel Heidi changes from beginning to end, especially in how she sees Jem and her behavior?
That's a great question. And also it's like, it's so interesting that you asked that, because I think the audience gets to see like a little bit of that. So kind of interesting story, like every indie film, you always wish you had more time than you do. And the day that we were shooting Jim's confession to the church, we were running out of time. Those are really big scenes because there's so many extras, and there's the church and the lighting for the church. And, our crew was just working like tirelessly to get everything set up. And I remember watching Eliza, and literally like Eliza's performance was so good that people that were just background extras, and I think some of them were part of the church, clapped. And I was like sitting there thinking like, I get it. That was incredible. But we kind of like ran out of time for the other stuff that had to be shot outside of like shooting like Jem's confession. But when I say other stuff, I mean like coverage on Heidi or on Owen. And in some ways that was really painful for me, because I felt like that in some ways is the pivotal moment where the change starts with Heidi. But also at the end of the day, like I said, like the time is what it is. And the most important part of that was really like Jem's confession. But I think that's the moment when Heidi really starts to question the choices that she's made on behalf of her family, because she's seeing her daughter who's been hurt by this man, her daughter, her child who's been hurt by this man. And she is paying a price in front of their whole community. And it's not the full picture. and she knows it can't be the full picture, but I think that's the moment that she really starts to wonder, what have I done to my family, and what have I done to my daughter, because she's paying the price for something that he very much took part in. And I really feel like that moment when Owen walks up to Jem and says, "I forgive you," is really like the moment where kind of like the chain reaction of how Heidi responds and the rest of the film starts. I still don't think that Heidi thinks that she's done the wrong thing necessarily, like full stop, as far as like bringing her family into that community. But I think she is a mom who's looking at it less through kind of like this belief system that they've all adhered to, and more as like, somebody hurt my child and I don't know how to repair this, but I'm going to try. And as Wrenn, I look at some of the choices she makes after that, with very specific opinions, but I don't know. I think that's maybe in some reasons why the audience reacts the way that they do when Heidi punches Owen. Spoiler alert. Because, like, really, like, you're an adult. You should know better. Right. And you're a pastor. You're a youth pastor. You should know better. And this is a 16, 17-year-old girl, and you took advantage of her naivety, or her naivety. No,
naivete.
Yes, naivete. Yes, thank you.
Yes, we did it.
I literally was like, I'm saying this wrong. I know I'm saying this, I'm about to say it wrong. Yeah, so, I think and that's really like the turning point. And I don't know. I also think like the way that Laurel wrote that scene, even the fact that like, it's such a surprise that she gets in the car. Like, I hope that takes people off guard.
I was certainly taken off guard.
Yeah. And that Heidi really, in that moment, thinks she feels like she's losing her child. But yeah, I definitely don't think Heidi's in a place maybe understanding the full scope of that. But yeah, I hope that is a full answer to your question.
That is certainly a full answer. You did an amazing job playing Heidi, and I cannot wait to see more of you in For All Mankind as well. So.
Hooray! Me too.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.